means whenever something happens messianic, it involves three things. One is v'nahapechu, like Haman. In one shot, he was overthrown. It means we cannot even predict. It's going to happen out of nowhere. It's going to be shocking, you see. And that's the v'nahapechu, you see. And by the way, all three things happen with Trump. Anyway, that's the main consideration.
Yeah.
So the first thing is v'nahapechu.
Yeah.
It happens out of nowhere, and it's stunning.
Yeah.
You see, the fall of the Berlin Wall, the fall of communism. You see, these are the election of Trump. V'nahapechu shocked everybody.
Yes.
The second thing that it has indicative of a messianic event, okay, is even moasu haboinim, is that the very person you think would never become that becomes that. You see, it's also Trump. They all hated him. And the third thing is where clearly it's divine. Hisyatzvu uru uru. Watch, God says to Moses, watch what I will do to the Egyptians. You see? That hopefully is going to happen to this election. Something is going to happen out of nowhere that's going to be stunning, that nobody expects, you see? Because in order for the Jews to repent, to get close to God, to get close to their Torah, this government must be removed. Jews will never repent, because the government of Israel, like I say, is apathetic, and to bring Jews back needs intervention of some sort, not compulsion or coercion, but some type of intervention at some level. And I already explained how it can happen. And that's one of the ways. There are other ideas which I'm not going into.
Are you saying Bibi has to be not there anymore?
Basically, yes, Bibi has to be deposed. Yeah. No, because he's not the man.
So who do you think can be the prime minister?
He's not the man. I mean, that's the end of it. As long as, unfortunately, that's his choice to be who he is. I'm not going to... he's not the guy. He's not the guy that can bring the Jewish people back to God.
Do you think that his indictments or the impending indictments are going to be like the thing
Maybe.
that bring...
Yeah, God is going to get rid of him. How he's going to do that?
I mean, we're political scene.
No, politically.
Yeah.
No, God forbid. I don't do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, politically, so he'll be unelected or not elected, whatever. I can think of different scenarios.
So apart from Moshiach, who do you think will replace him?
The Moshiach will not replace him.
So who?
You need a transition guy.
So who's
in between?
So who's around?
So he's out,
okay.
And then there's some guy that has to come in. That's a transition, where he's now completely in favor of trying to make the Jewish people more spiritual, not coerce them. Yeah. Which is when they went crazy when Smotrich, I think, was in.
Smotrich said something, but then he
clarified. No, that's ridiculous.
But then he clarified. He said, if you guys knew about the Torah, it talks about economics, but it's still people.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, without coercion,
yeah.
Like I say, Jews can get turned on when they realize what the Torah is, and so on. And there are ways to do that. Like I indicated before. But like I said, it has to be miraculous. It's clearly going to be divine. And it's going to be somebody that, people are shocked when it happens.
It's a person that is not in the political scene yet, you're saying?
No, he is. That's the interesting thing about that. He is. The person I have in mind is in the political scene. And I'm hoping that he somehow can get in and begin that process.
Can you tell me who you have in mind? Just curious.
Who do I have in mind?
Yeah.
Well, I have in mind, I hope he does make it. His name is Gideon Sa'ar.
Okay. He was the Minister of
Education and the Minister of the Interior.
But is he
5 years ago?
But he's not necessarily a religious guy.
Well, he is a Shem Shabbos.
And his daughter was dating
that I don't know.
Arab
I think it could be. Yeah, could be. I mean, it's not going to be a charedi guy.
Yeah.
Because the public will not want a charedi guy as a prime minister. Mm-hmm. It has to be somebody who can present himself friendly and of assistance to spirituality. So therefore, what I'm saying is really what has to happen, because I'm not looking at this politically. Redemption is the greatest event the entire creation has ever seen.
Yeah.
Once it starts, it is unstoppable and irrevocable. It's like Egypt. Could you imagine being in Egypt when God starts the Makkos.
Yeah.
It's like, what? It's like beyond belief. Yeah. The Geula Asida is much greater than the redemption of Egypt.
Yeah.
Because it's not redemption or freedom from a nation. It is freedom from who? From the Sultan.
Yeah.
We're talking about a spiritual entity that has been the greatest enemy of mankind, basically. That's the Geula, where the Sultan is destroyed. And all there is Ruchnius, spirituality. The greatest thing creation will ever have witnessed. You see? That's what it is. So how do you measure that? How do you describe that? You can't. So hopefully this what's about to happen will be that type of situation. We're not looking here at elections or coalition.
Yeah.
This is small fry stuff.
No, that's what I... Yeah.
This is hopefully redemption. And if something happens in this particular election that is in the process of redemption, then you're looking at something that will stun the Jewish people. Israel has to be saved first spiritually. Again, not through coercion, but in a natural way to become closer to God. The Jews have to return to their Father in heaven. It's as simple as that. And God says that. From the ends of heaven, I'll gather them. And believe me, when God says that, it's a done deal. And it will happen. The real question is just not if, but when. And I'm hoping now is the time. You see? That's how I look at the elections.
Yeah.
You see? And maybe that's why these elections are in such turmoil. Yeah. Actually, it's a very good sign, because imagine there's an election, but there's no government.
Yeah.
Right? How do you read that?
You
know how you read that?
It's almost like Hashem is just,
Yeah, and it's almost like, okay, you did the election, but I'm not allowing you to form a government.
Yeah.
That means you are approaching the end of your ability to keep the Jews estranged from me.
Yeah.
So God has, because in the end it's the coalition, not the, believe it or not the elections.
Yeah.
And He stopped it. So
this isn't America. It's not one guy
exactly
winning and that's it.
Yeah. So is this a message?
Yeah.
Where God says you have now reached your end, and from here on in I'm going to make it. And I can think of scenarios of how it could happen.
By the way, so what about a person like Lieberman? To me is the weirdest out of all.
Lieberman
because his wife is from, his daughter is from. He goes to the kever of the Muncie of some Rebbe, and then he's like,
Lieberman has a real problem.
Yeah, one.
Well, I'm being charitable.
Whatever. Yeah.
He's got a real problem.
Yeah.
Lieberman wants respect.
Yeah.
He used to be a comedian.
Yeah.
Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, no respect.
That was his line. I want respect,
Yeah.
The problem is that the government or the Netanyahu, they don't respect the guy. They give him the name title. Who cares what he says, right? So Lieberman is really annoyed,
Yeah.
That's his first problem. He wants to get revenge. What they did to him. The second problem he has, he's losing his constituency. Because all his Russians are now becoming Israelis.
Yeah.
So who's he?
The next generation's already voting Lapid and...
Exactly, we don't know you anywhere, So Lieberman has to make himself what's called relevant.
Yeah.
Well, Lieberman decided to join the enemy, which is the worst mistake he could ever make, because that will ensure his ultimate destruction. Because God will not tolerate. I mean, it's one thing, Lapid is one thing, but come on, this guy used to go around to Gedolim. He used to go around, he was religious.
He still does. He goes to
How do you attack the religious? So the main idea is he's got to make himself relevant, and he wants to make sure Netanyahu does not form a government, But in the end, Lieberman may be the greatest, shliach, agent. Why?
Like a disruptor.
Because he's the guy that shut down the government. He stopped the coalition.
Yeah.
And therefore, if Netanyahu gets indicted, we don't know, right? And, listen, if the statistics are the same, right, and they need Lieberman again for coalition, you know what's going to happen?
It's deja vu.
What?
Yeah.
They're not going to go through a third election,
Yeah.
or there'll be a rebellion.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So Rivlin is going to turn around and say, okay, Likud, I'll give you the guys, but not Netanyahu.
Yeah.
Pick somebody else.
Pick someone else. Or make a, what's it called, unity.
No, you don't want unity. What kind of unity government? They're two opposing forces.
Yeah.
Can fire and water have unity?
Yeah.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
It's a cop-out. That's what a unit government is you know. But, so he may say that. He said, look, you know, this can't be. Pick somebody else and let them make a coalition.
Yeah.
And that person will succeed.
Is Sar, he's not in the government now. What's he doing?
No, but he's the sixth in line.
He is in Likud?
Yeah.
Oh, he's in Likud. Okay.
Number 6.
Okay.
Used to be number 5.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I never thought, I mean, I knew who he was. I knew.
Not only that, but what's interesting is that there was a poll that if Netanyahu is not in the prime minister running, who's the most likely? He won.
Sar, really? Over Yuli, all these people? Wow. Interesting.
Yuli actually was the lowest.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, if we go by your Trump predictions, so, you know, you have good batting average so far. So, anyway.
But again, the consideration isn't Sar.
Yeah.
It's what has to be for the Jewish people to survive.
Yeah.
The greatest threat to Judaism, to Jews, is continuity of Judaism.
Yeah.
If not, it's over. You know, forget it. You know, it's the people are not relevant. It's the religion. You know, it's the bond that Jews have with God. That's everything that matters.